But I'm super excited about this particular workshop because all of us have these dreams that we've been thinking about, that have been percolating, and we're going to talk about how we're going to make them come true. And so reconnecting with dreams you've put on hold, and this is our last workshop. And I'm going to be working with Supriya to do a monthly workshop, and we will probably do it on like a Thursday night, once a month, the same night every month. And it'll be like, one will be create a LinkedIn profile, another one, and we'll have a gal that's offered to do all free headshots for the women. We'll do one that's going to be creating vision boards, and we'll be talking about vision boards today. Another one will be how to interview. So every month will be a new one. It'll be like a slower process if you're wanting to get into the workforce but aren't sure where to start. And then that way, every month, you're going to be getting one step closer if that's something you want to do. So I am Heather Nemelka, and this is my kids. This is what I looked like about 10 years ago when I got divorced. And I've been married for almost 25 years, and my husband filed for divorce, and I had to return to the workforce. And I hadn't worked for 18 years. I mean, I had worked, moms work all the time. We just don't get paid for it. And it was scary and hard, and I applied to 80 jobs. Nobody wanted to interview me, and then I ended up getting my first job because of an informational interview with my brother that he connected me with. And so I'm a huge believer in the road less traveled and non-traditional career paths. And I do these workshops to help women build confidence, because what I discovered was the women that I was talking to about returning to the workforce, they all lacked confidence. And I worked with a team of BYU students, and they did research, and they researched over 100 mothers. Some of them had been in the workforce, some of them hadn't ever been in the workforce. And the thing they all lacked, 83% of them all lacked confidence. So even the women that were working lacked confidence. So I thought, okay, there's something to this. And so I decided to take a step back from Elavare, which is my main, it's a nonprofit to help mothers return to the workforce. But as part of Elavare, teach how to build confidence. And so this workshop series that has been going on for 8 weeks has been primarily to help women build confidence, whether you're returning to the workforce or you're looking to start a new job, a business, go back to school, whatever it may be. You need confidence for that. And so this is my opportunity to give back. But this was our first family picture that we took when I got divorced, and it was just before my divorce was final. And that person there is scared and has no idea what she's going to do and how she's going to provide for her family. And I don't recognize that person anymore. And I'm so grateful that I have this picture, because it just reminds me of like who I was and how far I've come. So I always love showing that picture just to give you a sense about who I am. And also return to the workforce, even though it was like super hard and super scary, I went from, getting into the workforce to then going back to school and get my MBA, to then starting a nonprofit and joining a board of directors. And so I've had a really wonderful journey, but it hasn't been easy, but it's been wonderful. And building confidence has been a big part of it. And I say this in every workshop, but confidence kind of ebbs and flows. Sometimes you feel like, right on, I've got this. And then other times, like, I just don't even believe in myself. And so I always tell people to borrow somebody else's confidence until you have confidence in yourself, because sometimes you're just going to be at a low point and you need somebody else to tell you, you've got this, you're super fine. And so that's what I'm here for. I'm here to have you borrow my confidence until you have confidence in yourself. So we are going to talk about dreams and why are they important for moms. Now, all of you may not be moms, but if you take care of someone, you are going to be able to relate to all this, because when you become a caregiver, you put your dreams on hold. And a lot of it is because so this is what I told myself. So before I became a mom, I had lots of dreams. I wanted to be president of the United States. I wanted to, start a fashion line. I wanted to, like, so many different things. But when I became a mom, I felt like I had to put those dreams on hold, put them in a box, put it on the shelf, because otherwise I would be resentful. I just know myself. I would be resentful of the children I was trying to raise anytime that they were causing me grief or being frustrated. And I would be, I just would think, why did I do this? Because I really want to live these dreams. But it's been a beautiful thing, and it's been a beautiful journey. And so I think that a lot of us mothers put these dreams in a box, put them on a shelf, because that's how we cope. And most of the time as women, we're in survival mode half the time anyway. So to think about those dreams, it kind of competes with just survival. So we have to actually give ourselves space to prioritize what's most important. And to me, being a mother was more important than my dreams. And some women can do both. Like, I admire those women that can be a stay-at-home mom and take care of their kids, and also work on a side hustle on this, as they're also working out of their home. But I think that's really challenging, and I think that's the exception. But for me, I needed to put my dreams on hold so that I could be a wonderful mom and go all in. And I'm a big believer in what works for you. So you may be a woman that can do it all. And if you can, then more power to you. And I admire you. But if you're like me and you need to do dreams at certain points in your life, then you've got to realize that your season may just not have come yet. And now maybe your season. Or you may still be in the thick of things. And so you want to be aware of what your dreams are so that when the time comes, you're ready to put them into action. And no matter what your journey is, it's going to be a beautiful thing. It's going to be right for you. But I think the thing that's most important to recognize is that dreams are super important, and especially for moms. So let's talk about why maybe sometimes we pause our dreams. So women pause dreams for lots of different reasons, but these are the ones that I came up with, and you might have come up with some of your own because you may have paused those dreams yourself. So the first one, caregiving becomes all-consuming. I don't know about you guys, but when my kids were all young, I could barely shower. I was really just trying to keep all of these balls, juggling them up in the air. And I remember someone telling me I should meditate every day for 15 minutes. And I was like, I don't even have 15 minutes. I wake up early, and sure enough, somebody else wakes up at the same time. And then, maybe I'll get to go to the gym, and then it's go, go, go. And then they're off to school, and now I'm doing laundry, and I'm running errands, and I'm cleaning the house, and then they're home from school. And then I'm helping them with their homework, and then getting dinner ready, and then putting them to bed. And then I'm so exhausted. So the idea of doing anything outside of caregiving was impossible, at least for me. So that's number one. Number two, time, energy, and financial resources are limited. Okay, we talked about time a little bit when I was sharing that whole list of things I was trying to get done. Energy, just being tired. Also, just resources, like you're raising a family and money may be tight. So you may not have the financial resources to live the dreams that you have because it costs money. Not a lot of dreams do, but some dreams definitely cost money. So fear of failure, judgment, or not being good enough. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but I thought, man, if I pursue some of these dreams, what if I put all this effort into it and they don't work out? And then I've got my spouse telling me, why did you do all this and spend money and time? And you shouldn't have done that. Or family members telling me that, are you really able to do that? I don't think you can do that. And just judging you and telling you that others can do that, but maybe not you. And then whatever good enough means to you. That translates into a lot of things for me, but living your dreams, sometimes you have expectations of, well, people that live their dreams are this type of a person, or they've accomplished all these things. I haven't, so I'm not good enough to do that. Those are some thoughts that come to my mind. Number four, internalized guilt for wanting something beyond motherhood. So I think women or caregivers or whatever, whatever stage of life you're in, you might be thinking, okay, I've got other people that have more important needs. And this could even apply if you're in the workforce and you've got employees that are depending on you, or you're caring for your aging parents and you have, responsibilities there, or maybe you've got responsibilities in the community or in your church. So you feel guilty for wanting something outside of what you're already doing. And so that's sometimes hard too. I know I always carried that guilt. And number five, social messages that say you missed your window. So a lot of times we see things in social media, and before social media, we had no idea what people were accomplishing. But now we see things front and center on Instagram. So for example, the founder of Mixers was one of my neighbors, and in my young women's in church. And like, I'm like, oh man, I missed my window. Like, she's doing amazing things and I am not. And so it's easy to start to think, wow, that ship sailed. And I'm here to tell you that is absolutely not true. And we're going to share some examples of some people that definitely accomplished a lot in their later years. Anything else, any other reasons that popped into your mind that I didn't capture here? I'm sure there's probably lots of other things, but you might have come up with some ones. Yeah, Lori? Okay. That's perfect. Exactly. Okay. So these are a lot of things of, putting your dreams on pause, but you may not even know what your dream would look like. And so it's not even that it's on pause. You just haven't even gotten there yet. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But Julia Child, all right. So growing up, Julia Child, I knew about her and the art of cooking. And she had lots of really amazing things that she's accomplished. But basically, her story is that she didn't dream of being a chef. So she became this amazing, famous chef. And this isn't something that was on her roadmap at all. So we talk about dreams. This was not a dream of hers. She didn't have any dream of what she was going to become. And she didn't actually begin cooking seriously until her late 30s when she followed her husband to France. I think he was an ambassador or something. And she went to the Cordon Bleu cooking school, French cooking school. And at 37, she enrolled. And a lot of the students were very young, and she was kind of made fun of. They mocked her because she was doing this at such a later age. But she really wanted to learn how to, cook French dishes. And but she just pressed forward because she knew that was something that she loved. And as she continued to take these cooking classes, she realized, oh, I'm pretty good at this. I really like it. So then she wrote the book Mastering the Art of French Cooking at age 49. So 37 is when she enrolled, 49 is when she wrote her book. Okay, so definitely not young. And she made her television debut at age 51, where she started to do cooking classes on TV. And she was one of the very first entertainers or people that would be on television teaching cooking classes. And she transformed American home cooking. So all of a sudden, we as Americans could all also learn how to cook in these French dishes. And she actually accomplished her dreams not by racing ahead, but by following her heart and taking the time and seeing where life led her. So she never would have known that she was meant to be an amazing cook unless she had followed her husband to France, where then she took this cooking class. And I think sometimes we just don't know what our dreams are, but we need to leave ourselves open to possibility. So there may be some things that you would be great at doing, something that you would absolutely love, but you just haven't been exposed to it yet. And so I share this example because not only did she start her whole career in her, later years, but she also didn't discover her talents until her later years as well. So some of us may know, I'm really good at playing the piano. Someday I'm going to be, a songwriter or whatever. You may think, okay, I'm really great at running. I'm going to train for the Boston Marathon. I'm going to be a runner. That's my dream. But if you haven't been exposed to a lot of things, you may not even know what your dream is. So it's maybe not even a little seed. It's just, you're just fertile ground right now. And so as you start to get exposed to more things, whether it's now in your life or later in life, you're going to have opportunity to think more about what's possible. And so I love this example of Julia because she, did great things later. And I love this quote: find something you're passionate about and keep tremendously interested in it. Now, the word passion is overused in many ways, and I don't think it has to be this, this big, huge thing, but just something that you really get excited and that brings you happiness. That can be enough to be passionate, right? And she just kept being tremendously interested in French cooking. And she got better over time. And I'm sure when she started out, she wasn't very good at all. And she got better and better and then recognized, I have a talent. And so sometimes that's all it takes, is just being tremendously interested in something. It could be multiple things. And it could be that you start out with multiple different things and then you recognize, oh, I'm actually really good at this. It's hard for a lot of people to do multiple things well. I do know some people who can do that, but so find that one thing that you are really interested in and get good at it. And so despite your age or your life path, dreams are still possible. And we're going to talk more about how we're going to make that possible, because I'm a big dreamer. I've always been a big dreamer, and it gets me really excited to help other women get excited about dreaming as well. So most women don't abandon their dreams. Like I said, I just put mine on a shelf. I knew that at some point I was going to do some really important things. Now, it could be just important in my family circle, or it could be in the world, but I just knew that I have a purpose. We all have a purpose. There's a reason why we're here on this earth, and it's up to us to figure out what that looks like. And so I believe that as young girls, we had dreams and we grew up and we put other people's priorities or society's priorities first. And then we abandoned the thought of working on our dreams, but we didn't abandon the dreams themselves. So the process of going after the dream maybe had to be put on pause, but you still have that dream. And I bet you a lot of you do have something that you thought about when you were younger that you always wanted to do. My parents shared with me a letter that I had or a document I had written that kind of talked about all the ththings that I wanted to do. And it's funny because way back when, there were a lot of interests that I had that I do not have interests in at all now. But these are things that I wrote when I was a teenager. I think I was 16 or 18 years old. So like one of them is, design clothing. I am as unfashionable as they come. And so the fact of even thinking about designing clothing now is just, and I don't follow trends. I don't watch people that are no fashion. So that's a dream that I had when I was young, but that's not my dream now. And there were other things too. I wanted to also, be a lawyer at one point, because I thought, well, you have to be a lawyer to be president of the United States. And I have never been good at memorizing. And so when I was at BYU, I took a class on communications law. And I had a really hard time memorizing the cases and things like that. And I just there's just no way. And so sometimes your dreams kind of go away because of your taste changing, and you develop and you grow, and different experiences cause you to think differently about your ideas. And also you realize you're not very good at certain things too. I have a hard time pursuing things I'm not good at. So if I need a good memory to be a lawyer, of course, that's not a dream I'm going to pursue, because I would be very embarrassed at not being able to remember anything. So just recognize that your dreams are still there. They're just maybe put on a shelf. They're in the background, and maybe you're just going to have to do a lot of thinking too to remember what those dreams look like. So I love this formula. Dreams equal passion, strength, and service. And I use those three things because I feel like that is really where the dream in your mind becomes a reality. And oftentimes it's our passion, meaning things that we really love, things that we enjoy, things that make us happy. Strength, meaning our talents, our innate abilities, like what we're already good at, or the things that we're really good at, like pushing through. So being just really determined, that can also be considered a strength. And then service. Oftentimes your dreams also involve helping other people. So I think about what I'm doing now with Elavare and helping women build confidence and return to the workforce. I do this because I love to serve. And it wasn't until I discovered how much that means to me that I discovered that this, like putting this dream into reality, became real. And so I think those three things really help us live our dreams in a real intentional way, and they become more actionable. So if you have passion, strength, and service behind your dream, then most likely you can put it into action. If you don't, it's not a problem. You can still have dreams and you can still live them. But I just think it becomes so much more powerful when you have all those three qualities. And that's kind of the formula that works for me, but it may not work for you. But I think it's a great way to start when you're trying to think of your dreams, like what are your passions, what are your strengths, and what kind of service would you want to give? Okay, these are some questions I thought a lot about. Now, these are the questions that you should be thinking about as a woman who is trying to figure out what they want to do. So if you had a dream way back when, but you've forgotten it, or it doesn't apply to you anymore because you've changed, which is fine, and most of us do grow out of our original dreams, these are some things you need to think about. And I will be putting these in the checklist that I send after these workshops, so you can be thinking about these further. So number one, what makes me feel most alive or engaged? So if you're trying to figure out what your dream was or could be, it's always great to think about where do you feel the most alive? Like, I do not love cooking. That is not my dream to be the next Julia Child. But maybe it is for you. Maybe you're great at this and you feel so alive, to throw new ingredients and try new recipes. And if that's your dream, then that you're maybe onto something. So, give it some consideration. It could be travel. Maybe your dream is just to travel the world, and there's nothing wrong with it. Because when you travel, you can actually share that experience with others in your immediate circle. You can share it on social media. You can help people while you're traveling. You could do, service while you're on these trips. But maybe that's what makes you feel most alive or engaged. So think about that. Number two, what do others say I'm naturally good at? So that is an exercise that I think you should definitely consider, is asking people who know you really well, hey, like, what do you think I'm good at? Like, you know me, we've known each other for years. What are some of the things that I'm really good at? And they may say organizing. So for example, a neighbor of mine, she has a home organizing business. And the reason why she got into it was because her family and friends would say, you are so organized, you do this so well. And she loves to organize. Like, that's her favorite thing to do. And so she started a home organizing business, and that's her dream. But it took to asking other people, what am I good at? And now she's super happy. But sometimes we are so busy doing the things that we enjoy that we forget, okay, what are we really good at? And so we need to ask people who know us really well, so to help us figure out what we're naturally good at. Number three, what kind of contribution do I want to make? Now, your dreams don't always have to have a contribution attached to it. It could just be your own personal self, which that's fine too. But for me, what worked well is understanding what contribution I wanted to make. So as I was thinking about Elavare and launching this nonprofit, I thought, you know what? I want to make a big contribution, not just here in Utah, but nationally and globally. And so I had to think about what's a cause or purpose that I'm good at, that I could share, and it could make a big, significant contribution. And that's how I landed on Elavare. I was talking to my cousin, and I told him that what I wanted to do, and he actually suggested that I help women, figure out their path and help them return to the workforce. And I was like, really? And I was like, nobody will listen to me. And he's like, no, you've been doing this. You've been helping lots of people all along, and you've done it yourself. That is what you should consider. And so I considered it, and now it's what I do, and it's what I love. And even though I've been doing marketing for the longest time and just recently left my marketing job last month to do Elavare full time, first of all, it took me some time to think about, okay, am I willing to give up that comfortable life of being a marketer to do my dream full time? But I also had assurances from other people that said, yes, this is what you should do. People need you, Heather. And so that made it really, really great. And again, talk to other people and just say, hey, with some of the things I'm really good at, like, if I love this, how can I contribute to other people? What could I do? Not, again, you don't have to have a contribution that you're going to make to society, but it just helps you be more determined in your dreams if you're actually contributing. Number four, what did I used to love doing before motherhood? And this kind of is something that takes some time. Like, you have to really think about what you used to love to do if you're a mother. Or just, think about what you used to love to do years and years ago when you were in college or in high school. What made you happy? What made you get super excited? And again, these are things you're going to have to think about that you used to think about all the time, and you've put them on a shelf and you've forgotten. Number five, what have others thanked me for or leaned on me for? So this goes back to like your innate talents. Like, what have other people asked you to do that you really, just thought, oh, it's so easy. I have a friend who is an amazing pie baker. Like, she makes the most amazing pies. And she has been asked many times, can you bring a pie to this function? I'd love for you to do this, or can I pay you for some pies at Thanksgiving? And even though she doesn't do it for a living, she loves to bake pies, and she's so good at it. And we kind of talk about her starting a pie business at some point. She's not ready yet. She still has some younger kids at home, and she wants to wait. But people are always thanking her for her pies because she's just amazing that way. So think about, like, what do people keep going to you for? Is it, organizing your house? Is it helping you write? Is it helping you do other things? And think about what other people need you for. What's something I've always wanted to try, even secretly? Okay, I know you guys might have something in your mind that you've thought, oh, that would be so fun to try, but I'm scared to. Like, oh, that could be a dream that's in your subconscious just waiting to get out and saying, let me out. But maybe there's something you've always wanted to do. Could be stained glass making. I shared this in one workshop, but there's enough new people, I'll share this. When I turned 50, I decided to make a list of 50 things. Well, just before I turned 50, I decided to make a list of 50 things to do before I turned 50. And it sounded unrealistic and crazy, especially because then COVID hit and then I couldn't do a lot of things. But I made this list of 50 things as just to make a fun list of things that I wanted to accomplish at some point. But I set myself a goal to try to get as much done before I turned 50, or while I was turning, in my year of turning 50. And I had always wanted to learn how to make stained glass, always. I love stained glass. And so I thought, I'm going to take a stained glass making class, and I'm going to be amazing. I'm going to sell stained glass because I'm going to be so good at it. And so I took a stained glass class from a woman that had been teaching my kids art. And she all of a sudden had this adult stained glass making class, which was amazing. And I took it, and I hated it. I was terrible at it. First of all, you have to cut the pieces. Your fingers get cut. It takes a lot of time. It just was not easy. And so I didn't realize that those stained glass art that people, sell their art for tons of money, I didn't realize that they deserve every penny because it is not easy. But I always had wanted to try it secretly. And so I did it. And I'm so glad I did it because I have a dragonfly and 2 butterflies that I made out of the class. So I'm really proud of myself. I have something. And if you saw them, you'd be like, oh my gosh, Heather, you should go into stained glass. No, not a chance. I should have actually put the pictures of them up here. But you got to figure out something that you wanted to do secretly and just go and do it. You might be really great at it. Just don't give, my example, it wasn't great at, but you might be really, really great at it. And if I'd never done it, I'd always regret it. I'd always think, why didn't I at least try? And I'm so glad I did it, even later in life. So these, again, are questions you need to ask yourself to help you start thinking about what your dream might look like. Okay. And it might take a lot of time, and you might have that dream right away. You're like, Heather, actually, I know exactly what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. That's awesome. But a lot of you might also be thinking, I don't know. But again, the reason why a lot of us put these dreams on hold is in survival mode. Maybe you've been working and you don't have time to live your dreams because you're just trying to pay the bills. And if you're caring for children, you've just been trying to survive taking care of your family. But whatever reason, you do have dreams. You just have to find them again. Okay, so what holds us back? So we talked about some of those things, but I want us to also think about, some of those other things that have been holding us back, and ask ourselves, is this real? Like, are these really true things that we should be giving into? So we have here dream blockers. So these are what I call the dream blockers. And these might be thoughts that you've had, and you've been thinking, oh yes, that's why I don't do my dreams, because of these very things. So the first excuse, I don't have time. And the reality is we all have the same amount of time. And we might be looking at some people that are going and living their dreams and doing these amazing things. Now, they might have the means, meaning they might have some financial means and resources, or people that they know that have helped them live those dreams. So they do have an advantage. But I do think, too, that we all do have time, and we have to prioritize our dreams. And as women, whether you're a mother or not, you end up putting yourself kind of on the back burner because of other people in your life. It's just how we're made, I think. I think most of us tell ourselves we don't have time because we're giving our time to everybody else or anything else that seems like it's more of a priority, because we deprioritize ourselves. And we do have time, we just haven't made time for ourselves and our dreams. Number 2, I'm too old, it's too late. Okay, so I gave Julia Child as an example. Hold on one second, I'm going to turn on these lights again. Okay, I'm not sure why those turned off. I gave Julia Child as an example of somebody who later in life lived their dream. And I'm going to give you another example of someone shortly. So I'm too old and it's too late cannot be our excuse. It feels like a really good excuse, and certainly I've used that in my life, but we're not too old. I was just reading about a woman in her 80s that took up running, and now she's like doing these marathons and stuff. I'm like, oh, that's crazy, but she's doing it. Number 3, I don't know what I want. Okay, and that's very real, especially if we've been prioritizing other people. It helps us, I don't know, move forward if we don't give ourselves any time to think about what we want. It's sometimes easier to not spend time on what we want, and it makes us feel good about what we're doing, and that's not a great excuse, but I know I've used it. I don't know what I want. I'm still figuring out me. And I used to see some people and I would say, I want to be like you when I grow up. And I would be in my 40s saying that. And time is not going to slow down. It's not going to stop for us. And we need to figure out what we want. But it's going to take some time to figure out what you want before you even start pursuing those dreams. All right, another blocker. I feel selfish or guilty. Now, this is something that I feel way too often. And I don't know why. I've always been this way. And even with my adult children, I still feel super guilty. And I sometimes I feel selfish or guilty for pursuing things that I want to do because other people need me, whether that's at my job or with my family. It just feels like other people are more important and their dreams are more important, but that's not true. Number 5, I'm afraid I'll fail. Nobody likes to try to pursue something, have people know and be like, whatever happened to that business you were going to start, Heather? Whatever happened about going back to school? Did you ever do that? And, no, because I was afraid I was going to fail. So I decided not to even do it, not to even start, but that's a real dream blocker. Any other dream blockers that, thoughts that come to your mind and you're like, I'm not pursuing my dream because these. Okay, so she was saying her opportunities don't match her dreams. Okay, that's a real blocker. And that makes it even harder because you are faced with what you have, right? So how do you get past that? Did you have some? Financial. That can be a huge blocker to dreams. A lot of dreams cost money. A lot of dreams don't, but there are some dreams. And if you don't have the opportunity, then that makes it really challenging to go after those dreams, right? So my thought there is either number 1, take a lot of time to think about what are some things that you could pursue. They may not be your number 1 dream, but maybe it's secondary. You may not have the finances to do the main dream that you have or the opportunity to do the main one, but you think of some secondary ones and maybe the opportunity will come over time or people you meet. Life is short and life is long. So at the time we're thinking, oh my gosh, we've got, there's so much I've got to accomplish and life is short, but life is also long. I mean, here I am in my 50s and I could live for another 50 years. I hope I don't, but I could. So maybe those opportunities haven't presented themselves yet. So I want to write a book really badly. I've always wanted to write a book, but the opportunity hasn't presented itself. And yes, I probably just need to start writing. And when the opportunity is there, then I'll be ready. But we sometimes also have to make our own opportunities. And what would that look like? Maybe we need to talk to other people and share with them what we want to accomplish and let them help us brainstorm and figure out and we're going to talk about this when we talk about vision boards, but sometimes it's really important to share your dreams with other people Now, not everybody agrees with me there. Some people say don't share your dreams with other people because then they can kill your dreams. They can, oftentimes our loved ones or family members are the biggest dream killers, right? They're the ones that are trying to protect us from getting hurt. So they try to tell us, oh, Heather, that's really expensive. Like, do you really want to spend that kind of money? And then what if it doesn't work out, right? I mean, I've heard that. So but oftentimes too, if you share your dreams with other people, they may be the opportunity that you are needing. Or they may expose you, like we talked earlier, they may expose you to some different things you never thought about. So over time, I've met people that do things that I never in a million years would guess. Like I did rappelling, canyoneering a few years ago, and I never, ever would have done that on my own. But they exposed me to it, and I enjoyed it, and it was super fun. It's not a dream of mine to become a canyoneering expert, but the more people you get to know, and this goes back to the course that we had yesterday, or not, the workshop we had last week about networking and building relationships, maybe those opportunities will come to us as we build those relationships. So getting to know more people, expanding your network, that's going to pay off, hopefully. Anything else? Health. Oh my gosh. That can be a huge dream blocker, okay? Our health may prevent us, or the health of somebody that we care for, that we're, taking care of, may also prevent us from living the dreams, right? And those, although I do know people that even despite their health, they went on to do these amazing things. Those are probably not as often, right? But your health could be a real reason why you're not able to live your dream. Maybe you wanted to be an Olympian or you wanted to whatever, but your physicality just was limiting, right? But I think that can be a big dream blocker for sure. Okay. I love this quote by Pablo Picasso. I'd never heard of it before, but the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give it away. And when I've talked to people who want to live their dream, oftentimes it is a gift that they discovered. And like these older women that we're talking about here, and I'm going to share one in just a sec, it took a while for them to find their gift. And maybe you haven't found your gift yet, but life is to find your gift and then give it away. So once you find out what you're here for, give it away. I can't tell you how excited I am to be doing Elavare because I'm giving it away. I'm doing this because I just love it, and it brings me so much satisfaction. And before Elavare, I wanted to start a tech startup that was going to help people make better buying decisions. I won't give you all the details, but it wasn't as purposeful for me. Like, it didn't feel like my gift. It didn't feel like something that I was really good at that I was sharing. And I feel like this is what it is. Now, it took me a long time. And you may still be trying to figure out what that looks like for you. And you also may still be in survival mode. So your dreams are still going to be on the shelf until you are not in survival mode. And that's okay. This workshop is going to help you think about those things. And certainly the checklist that you'll get after the workshop will give you some things to think about down the road that you may not be able to put into action right now, but you will be, because later you're going to be able to have the time and make the time to hopefully do that. So Vera Wang, I didn't know this. Maybe you guys knew this, but I didn't really know her story. But apparently she was getting married and she could not find a wedding dress. And so she decided to design her own wedding dress. And that's how she got her start as a wedding dress designer. She actually started out as a competitive skater. She wanted to be an Olympic skater. And that didn't work out for her. And so then she worked for Vogue for 17 years. So obviously she became a fashion editor for Vogue. So she learned a lot of the things about fashion, what goes into style and design. But she wasn't designing wedding dresses then. And then she became a creative director for Ralph Lauren. And she, at age 40, was when she was getting married, and she designed her very first wedding dress. And people saw it, and then she became the catalyst for making all these other wedding dresses. And she is not a young woman. I mean, she started later in life, and now look what she's done. She's, transformed a whole industry and became, famous. And she's an international fashion designer now. And she didn't follow a straight line. She followed the pull. She was pulled to design this wedding dress for herself because she couldn't find what she needed out there in the market. And some of you may be like that too, where you're like, I wish I had this and I can't get it. So I'm going to find out a way to be able to make it. And you may be looking to get help from someone else. So you may not have the talent yourself alone to live your dream. You may need to partner with someone who also has some of the talents that you don't have, and then you can work together. And so sometimes your dreams are a shared path. And I love this quote by Vera Wang. When you have a passion for something, then you tend not only to be better at it, but you work harder at it too. And I think that that's true. And again, like when I said passion, don't get too caught up in that it has to be this all-consuming feeling, but recognize that when you love something, it becomes much easier to do because you're better at it. And like what I've been doing with Elavare, there's some things I'm good at and some things I'm not good at. And so I'm getting better, for example, at doing some of the coding with the website and doing some of the design. And I was not good at it at all before when I first started. And I've gotten better. And as I've gotten better, I've discovered I really enjoy it. I like it. I like seeing the hard work that goes into something and then realizing, wow, I did that after just pushing and pushing. It was not easy. But I was willing to work harder for it because I realized that I was getting better at it little by little. And so this quote by Vera Wang kind of tells us just there that, we tend to gravitate to the things that we're already good at, and then we're willing to work harder when we can see that, oh, okay, we are really good at it. Or somebody says to us, Heather, you are really good at X, and we may not have ever even considered this. And that might be the catalyst to our dream or what we're going to do next, because we give it a try and we think, oh yeah, I could do this. So let's go from dreaming to doing. So it's good to have dreams, but a dream without a plan is a wish. And oftentimes we get excited, we have these dreams in our head, but we don't have any action plan to put them in motion. And so that's all it is a wish. But I will say that when I put my dreams in a box on the shelf, which is what I had to do when I became a full-time mom, I wasn't taking any action. And when you take that box down, you need to start thinking about what action you want to take so that you can actually, fulfill those dreams. And so dreaming itself is super powerful. And, but the action is what really makes it real. So it's important to think about ways that you're going to be able to put these dreams into action. And it may not be evident immediately, right? You might be thinking, okay, I want to do this, but I don't know how to get started. And that's where you really need to either take time on ChatGPT or Google, talk to friends, family, and just say, I've always wanted to do this. Sometimes, like, I love ChatGPT because I can put a prompt in there and say, you are an amazing, whatever it is I want to be. What are the steps I need to take to be able to do this? So when I started my Elavare nonprofit, I'd never done a nonprofit before. I never even talked to anybody about their nonprofit and how they started. I literally got into ChatGPT and I said, you are a nonprofit founder with 20 years of experience. Tell me step by step what I need to do to start a nonprofit. And literally it just went all these things like, oh my gosh. And so then I just began taking action to put my nonprofit into motion. And I wouldn't have known any of that stuff unless I had either talked to someone, ChatGPT, Google. So you might have a dream and you think, oh, it's impossible. I don't even know how to get started. But if you don't take steps to ask, whether it's on your computer or somebody else, then you're really not, you really are still keeping your dream on the shelf. And like I said, your time and season may not be now. You might be just thinking about these things because you want to do it eventually. Or you can start taking small steps now, which will then give you the dream results in the future. And we're going to talk about that in just a sec. So this is my vision board, and I'm being very vulnerable here, and I'm going to share my vision board with you. Vision boards are also called action boards. I like calling them action boards because if you aren't going to take action, or you don't put things on your vision board that you can take action with, then again, it kind of is still in the realm of a wish. So these are the things that are very important to me, that I am dreaming about, that I want from myself, and these are my priorities. And so your action board, your vision board, could be anything, and I'm going to tell you how to make it. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my vision board and why I have the things on my vision board. Now, some people will pick a theme for their vision board, and it's only one theme. So it could be, let's say you wanted to be an Olympian, right? Your vision board might be all about training and Olympics and all the things that go into that. That might be your theme. But for me, I like an action board or a vision board that encompasses all of the future things I want in my life. Like, this is the rest of my 50 years. Right? I don't have any time frame. I just think about these things and I look at them every single day. So I'm going to walk through them. So the very first thing in the middle is my main thing that I really, really want, and I want to write a book. And I imagine that it would be called something like Mission, because I want people to learn how to figure out how to live their mission. And so that's I just made this in Canva, my pretend book. Jesus is super important to me, and I want to live my life in such a way that I am living his way. And so I keep that on my vision board because I don't want to lose that. Above that is the V, and that's the Elavare logo, and that's what I do here with my nonprofit. Above that is the business magazine. I hope to be on a cover of a business magazine someday, so I just made an imaginary cover. Top right is my family. They're super important to me. I want us to have a close, tight family. Below that is the Tory Burch Foundation for Entrepreneurs. She has something that entrepreneurs can apply for every year in November. I hope someday to be a part of her entrepreneurship class. BYU football, love BYU football. I hope to have season tickets someday to be able to go to those games and sit in some good seats. Below that are the Olympics. The Olympics are coming to Salt Lake. I worked with Olympic athletes and NGOs years ago, and so I want to help with the Olympics. To the right of that is the Orem Temple. My religion, my LDS faith, is super important to me, so I always want to keep that top of mind. Below that is the logo from the church hymnal, and I wrote some songs for the potential hymn book, songbook, and I love writing music, so that's still on my goal. Below that are women that I'm helping with Elavare, so I like thinking about them. How am I helping them? And that's why I have it there. That picture there is Cabo. Cabo is the most amazing vacation I've ever had in my life, and I hope to go back there someday. This is a woman teaching a class at BYU or somewhere, and I want to be able to teach as an adjunct professor. Below that is, or next to that is a lobster. I want to be able to go to a restaurant and order whatever I want. So lobster is significant. That's a symbol of that. Future missionary. I want to be a missionary for my church, and so I keep that name tag there. Speaking is one of my favorite things to do, so I hope to be able to be a public speaker someday regularly. Mexico, my son is on a church mission to Mexico, and I want to speak fluently with him, and so I have a goal to be able to take Spanish. I'm taking Spanish now, and not very good at it, but that's my dream, is to be fluent. Above that is a Cartier watch. I would love to be able to buy this watch and not think twice about it, so I have it on my vision board. Passport, I love travel. I want to travel the world, so I have that there. This woman here in the Cape, I love teaching women AI, and so it's kind of my dream to have AI classes for women. Above that is travel with Delta. I would love to be able to sit in first class when I travel regularly, and so I have that as one of my dreams. Next to that is the ambassador to UK, and I would love to be an ambassador someday, so I have that up there. And then TED Talk, I'd love to be a TED speaker at some time. So this is my action board. This is my vision board. So I do things regularly to get me closer to. Now, I'm not doing this all at once, right? I'm going to take steps here, and then one week I'm going to do this and that. But I look for opportunities to speak to people who might be able to help me with my dreams. And so let's talk a little bit about action boards or vision boards, which a lot of people call it. So this is basically you take a piece of cardboard, or at least a little heavier piece of cardstock, and you cut out pictures from magazines, or in this case, I just found these pictures on the internet, and this is a digital one that I keep it as a screensaver on the screen of my laptop, and I also have it on my phone. So I see it every single day. I also have it printed, and it's on a wall. I have 2 of them printed on my wall. And then that way I can see it and visualize it every single day and remember what it is that I'm reaching for. And you can cut out these from magazines or get them online, and you put them all together and glue them, and it ends up being like a collage of all the things that you want to accomplish. And this shifts your mindset from maybe to I will. And if you don't have something that you're going to take action on, again, it's just a wish. It's going to be something that's like, this is possible. I'm going to make this possible. And it seems like a lot, and it is a lot. I don't doubt that, but I have 50 more years of my life to accomplish this. And that's my plan. So Albert Einstein said, imagination is everything. It's the preview of life's coming attractions. And you need to imagine what your dream is going to look like. And like I said, you can pick a theme, so it's just one dream, or it can be multiple things in your life, goals, anything that you want to accomplish. That could be your vision board, however you want to look at it. It needs to be what is going to be real for you. And we're going to hopefully have a monthly workshop that we're going to do here at Sapria each month. And we're going to have one of these as the activities. We're going to do vision boards. And I'm super excited because when you have a vision board and you're looking at it every day, it just brings things to life. And it's kind of what it's just what I believe in.